People might know me as Mrs. Weasley from Harry Potter. Now, what we're doing today, we're not hearing the classics. You've already heard one that isn't, obviously. You've heard the Loch Lomans plenty of times. You've heard the Whiskey in the Jars. Today, it's Celtic Contemporary Basics. It's a bit of a mouthful. It's the best I could come up with. We're going to learn about some Scottish bands, some Scottish music that you guys probably didn't even know was Scottish. Alright, so I'm going to start off with a couple that I like to refer to as odes to bad Scottish weather. I'm only happy when it rains. I'm only happy when it's complicated. I know you can appreciate it. I'm only happy when it rains. From Edinburgh, out front of the band called Garbage. Now, I always thought some of you got it, and one of my people as well, down almost on the front rows there, nice. And there's sunblock all over my stage, by the way. It's our day today. Garbage isn't a Scottish band as such. They're actually set up right here in America by a guy called Butch Vig. Now, that name might be familiar to some of you. He was not only a drummer, but a record producer and sound engineer, and he engineered the sound on the second album from these guys. Kurt Cobain's cat actually did the guitar on that track. I know, you're learning today, aren't you? And Kurt, by the way, is actually back in the news. Yeah, he's got a new book out. It's called How to Deal with Success. I suspect it's going to be quite a big seller amongst some depressed men. But I never understood Kurt Cobain. There he is, right? Number one in the charts, 10 million bucks in the bank, blows his brains out. I've got $1.80 in the bank. Imagine how I feel. I swear that I don't have a gun. No, I don't have a gun. Then what did you shoot yourself in the head with, Kurt? A bloody chicken? I don't know what he's on about there. I suspect Seattle weather might be as bad as it could be in Scotland. Now, unfortunate name for a band, don't you think? Garbage. Imagine, and they're American, right? If they were actually set up in Britain, right? Despite the lead singer being from Scotland, they would probably have been called Rubbish. They wouldn't have helped either. Imagine walking into a record store. Yeah, I want some rubbish. You want what? Rubbish. New rubbish. New rubbish. That's what's called rubbish. It's old, isn't it? Anyway, here's one. Now, this is an audience participation one, and that's what this show's all about. And you're going to know these ones. Another ode to bad Scottish weather. I know what you're all thinking. Oh, what a wanker. Won't you come see about me? I'll be alone. Dancing, you know it, baby. Tell me your troubles and doubts. Give me everything inside and out. Slow change may pull us apart. When the light gets into your heart, don't you
forget about me.
Oh, now look, you guys, but over here we forgot the words, which when you consider the song is very ironic. It isn't as Alanis Morissette. Yes, it is. Others don't feel bad, right? I mean, I just mind over matter. You don't mind, it doesn't matter. And me, I forget words all the time, right? I think Alzheimer's has got me already. But I'm quite looking forward to it. I'll tell you why. I believe there's 3 great things about Alzheimer's. Is there? Yeah. First off, you get to hide your own Easter eggs, alright? Secondly, you get to meet lots of new people all the time. Wow. And thirdly, you get to hide your own Easter eggs. Yeah. Now that, of course, is the band Simple Minds, alright? Huge band right throughout the 80s. You guys would know all the big hits they had. And of course, they were from Glasgow. The lead singer was a guy called Jim Kerr. He became a huge international superstar. And what do huge huge international superstars do? They marry other huge superstars. Now, anyone know any idea? Anyone who it was? I will give you a clue. Got brass in pocket, got bottle, and I'm gonna use that intention. I'm feeling the tip, gonna make you notice. And she certainly noticed him. Chrissy Hind, young man, indeed. Prize for you in the cheap seats in the front row. Yes, very nice. And of course, what happens after 9 months? The usual thing of celebrity marriage. They got divorced. Because it's a nice day for a white wedding. Now, I couldn't find any reference to Billy Idol, right, as far as Celtic, Scottish music goes, and I tried, yeah. And you can try it yourself. This is a good exercise. I looked up on YouTube, Billy Idol, Scottish songs. A guy called Billy Idol comes up playing Scottish folk tunes, but it's not that one. All right, so moving on. Now, because it's just the basics show, I'm going to need a rhythm section, so I need your guys' help. Sound good? What a fantastic crowd we have here today. We only need one more of you to get involved. That's going to double that crowd. So give us a bit of this. I need a drummer. Now, drummers are unfortunate people, as you know, in the band, because they're noisy buggers, and I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with one because they like hitting things, don't they? As opposed to guitar players that like to stroke things. Like kids. All right, so give us a bit of this. I don't know if you can hear that. Can we all hear it? Yeah, we need a bit more because I've got to play over you. There we go. Yeah. Don't know why I came in tonight. I got the feeling that something ain't right. So scared in case I fall off my chair, and I'm wondering how I get down the stairs. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am stuck in the middle with you. You can consider that a rehearsal. I'll give you guys a round of applause. Very nice. Drummers all of you. Steelers Wheels. What's the band from Paisley in Scotland? Stuck in the middle with you. Now I have a few issues with this song. Who's he stuck in the middle with? Have you guys ever thought about this? Now I'm going to put it over to you guys. We're going to have a prize for the best thought. We can work our way through the show on this one. We don't have to get it now. I'm going to kick it off, right? I thought it could be a geographical reference. Maybe Germany and Austria, right, complaining about Italy and Greece not paying their bills, right? And there's one or the other stuck in the middle of you, right? Bit intellectual, I appreciate, so I thought it could be a food reference, right? Hot dog, mustard, 2 buns on the outside, the other 2, well, yeah, stuck in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Right, now we're going to put it over to you guys, and you can stick your hand up in between the bits and yell out anything you want, and it's a great prize. But I always thought that this song must have been written by a really drunk guy, right? Because when you think about it, if you listen to the lyrics, I don't know why I came here tonight. Got the feeling something ain't right. So scared in case I fall off the chair. Wondering how I'll get down the stairs. This guy's blitzed on this, isn't he? Let's face it. Mind you, beer in the morning. My grandfather told me a story related to this song. He said to me, you know, mate, beer in the morning, a beer at night, you'll live a long and healthy life. Not that I actually met him, mind you. He died before I was born. Got hit by a drunk driver crossing the road on the way to a bar for breakfast. Thanks for the sympathy. Now, the same guy in Steelers Wheels that wrote that one would write probably the most iconic song of the 70s. Winding my way down Main Street, light in your head, and your downbeat, round another crazy day, drinking that away, and get my breath now. One more year and now you'll be happy. Another year and now you'll be happy. When you're crying now. And this one, you know, has probably the most recognizable instrumental break probably ever. Rafferty was the guy that wrote that song. Originally in Steelers Wheels, went out on his own. Side note with Jerry Rafferty, he actually started out in an acoustic folk duo in Scotland. Does anybody know who his partner was? Anyone tell me? One Billy Connolly. That name should ring a bell. Jerry was a bit of a boozer and not the nicest guy to get on with. He reportedly told Billy, you know, Billy, I don't think music's really your thing, mate. And apparently, he took it to heart, chose comedy, the rest is history. Now, if you listen, you all know that song, Baker Street. If you ask me, I think that Jerry needs to stay well away from Baker Street. He's boozing, he's womanizing, right? He's out all night, he can't get his life together, he hates where he's living. Maybe he should try not Baker Street, maybe Corner Street. Maybe Carpenter Street, Miller Street could be a way to go. I don't know. And as I was driving here, right, I noticed that right here, you guys have got a Baker Street right here. So I was concerned. Now I guess we got some locals, right? Is this Baker Street trouble, is this? Is it like the song? When I drove through that intersection, I was very, very careful. I actually wanted to go around, maybe try and find a Smith Street, a Jones Street. Any common name street, not Baker. If you ask me, I think our Jerry Rafferty needs to stay 500 miles away from Baker Street. When I wake up, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up for you. When I go out, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes out for you. And when I get drunk, which is quite likely, let's face it, we are talking Scottish people here. They like to drink. So I suspect someone's going to be getting drunk. So when I get drunk, I know I'm going to be the man who gets drunk for you. And when I haver, who knows what havering is? Who can tell me? Have we got any Scots here? Who can tell me what havering is? What a fantastic crowd we have. It's to talk nonsense. None of that being taught by you lot right now. Yeah. To haver is to talk nonsense. Now let's think about that. There's drinking going on. I suspect there's going to be some nonsense talked. But I would have walked 500 miles, and I would have walked 500 miles to be the man who walked 1,000 miles and fall down at your door. Here comes the havering. Now come on, let's do some drinking havering. Let's hear it. Now then, that is the Proclaimers from Leith in Scotland, Charlie and Craig Reid. Now let's have a bit of a recap here because I have some issues with this song. This poor woman has got not one, but two drunk Scotsmen stalking her around Scotland. Fantastic. They walked 1,000 miles from it, falling down on her doorstep. Very attractive, sweaty, drunk, talking rubbish. Sounds great, doesn't it, ladies? Nice. And let's face it, you might be thinking, oh, this guy's walked 1,000 miles for me. Can't be bad. But by the time they show up on your doorstep, they're going to be sleeping. They're not going to be much good for anything else. Even if you were interested in them. Not only that, 1,000 miles, it's a long-distance relationship. It's never gonna work. Yes, of course, darling. I'll walk 500 miles for you. Yeah, I'll do the ironing, and I won't see anyone while I'm so far away besides you. Now, the biggest issue I have with this one, though, 1,000 miles. Do the Proclaimers know where they live? The border with England is 60 miles across. Ireland is 30 miles away. You can't walk 1,000 miles in a straight line in Scotland and still be in Scotland. If you did, you'd probably find you'd end up somewhat wet. You know I love you, I always will. My mind's made up by the way that I feel. There's no beginning, there would be no end. It's all my love, I can pretend. Now that is, not only is it one of the worst comic segues you're ever going to hear in your life, that is also a famous Scottish band, Wet, from the 90s, had a huge hit in the 90s with that song. Now, it's actually a cover. Can anyone tell me who originally recorded it? Anyone? The Trogs, an English band from the 60s who were made famous with this song. Wild thing, you make my heart sing. That was him, Jimi Hendrix did as well. But again, that was a cover, and that song was actually written by an American, a guy called Chip Taylor, right? Now that's a stage name. He's the brother of John Voight, the actor, who in turn is the uncle of Angelina Jolie, indeed. My, what tangled webs we weave, alright? Now, the thing about Wet, 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 they got even, if you could consider doubly famous, if you like, with that song, because it was used in a famous film in the mid-90s. Anyone know? Anyone know? 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Yeah. And if you ask me, though, I think marriage is a wonderful invention. Yes. But then so's a puncture repair kit. Yeah. A couple of married people here, so let's try that out. Anyone here married? Anyone married? You two are groveling all over each other. You're obviously not married. So I won't ask you two. Anyone married? What, no one's going? Oh, you two are? Oh, very good. Young lady, down here, yeah. This is the husband, I'm assuming. It's not the... Right, yeah. Where are you from, young lady? Do you speak... You don't speak English? It's all right, neither do I. I speak accent with a hint of English. Yeah. Where are you from, young lady? Riverside, right here in California. Very nice. Except that is a bit unfortunate, because as you can tell, I'm not from here, and before I came to live in California, I did some research, and I read an article. Apparently 95% of the ladies from Riverside are unfaithful to their husbands. He's not smiling. It's alright, young man, don't worry. The article did go on to say that the other 5% got a letter from your governor here in California. Young lady, do you know what it said? No? There you go then. Love hurts, love must, love wounds and scars any heart not strong or tough enough to take a lot of pain, take a lot of pain. Anyway, you know the song. All right, now, can of worms here. Love Hurts, right? That song was made famous by a Scottish heavy rock band from the early 70s called Nazareth. They're from Dunfermline in Scotland, and that is also a cover. I'm sure some of you will be able to tell me who did that one originally. No? The Everly Brothers. Now, if you know a lot of the Everly Brothers music, you know that some of it's quite, girly, which unfortunately got them the unfortunate nickname, the Beverly Brothers. Now the point here about this song is that you know the song as Nazareth performed it, right? When that guy does it, he's way up here. Love hurts, love must, and it sounds like it hurts too, doesn't it? Let's face it. Yes, it does, young man, yeah. So when the Beverly Brothers did it, they were like an octave lower. Now, my question, I can't get there, as you can hear. I was struggling to get up to where it was. Now listen, what I can't work out is how Nazareth were able to sing it so high. I've got it. 70s heavy rock band. It was those tight leather pants. Yes, it was. Yeah. Give us a nod there, love. Why not? Me, I'm never going to reach those notes on the best days. Certainly not today. I'm wearing a kilt. Because I'm free. I'm free falling. One of you, women. No Scottish reference to Mr. Petty, I'm afraid. Oh, the people in the cheap seats even found that funny. They thought they'd turn around. Give me a bit of acknowledgement on that one. No, don't clap, love. Save it till the end. I've got a weak finish, all right? Now, speaking of things, more things down under. Traveling in a freighter combat on a heavy trailhead full of zombies. Met a strange lady, she made me nervous. Then she took me in and gave me breakfast. Do you come from a land down under? Beaters blowing and chunder. Do you hear the thunder? de facto Australian national anthem, Down Under, by Men at Work. Exactly. Now you're all wanting to know the Scottish connection here. The lead singer of Men at Work, Colin Hay, born in Scotland. He was actually born in Kilwinning, Scotland. Unfortunate name, sort of, if you like, a bit appropriate to some of the sporting teams of Scotland at the moment. Like their rugby team, not so good. Football team, not making the World Cup. Shall we be winning? No, kill that. I don't want any of that. But unfortunate, never mind. He didn't emigrate to Scotland until he was 16 years old. If you've ever heard him interviewed, to this day, he speaks with a heavy Scottish accent. However, in Australia, he did embrace the culture. And I'm a New Zealander, by the way, alright? You're probably wondering if there was a connection there. And in New Zealand, we don't like Australians. Any Australians in the crowd here today? Any Australians? Great! I don't have to slow my speech down so they understand. Fantastic. And by the way, if you ever hear this accent, and you're not sure, because we don't like you Americans confusing us for Australians as New Zealanders. No, we don't like it. We get angry. And if you ever hear this accent, you're not sure, always ask first, right? Are you a New Zealander? If it is, they will love you to death. If it's an Australian, those bastards need to know what it feels like. Yes, they do. Now, so, as a New Zealander, I can translate for you Australian speak from the song. So let's start off. Fried up combi. Anybody? Fried up combi? No? It's the old V-dub combi van with the pop-up lid, right? And the air-cooled engine. Sounded like the motor sounds like the giant from Jack and the Beanstalk gargling gravel. You know, you can hear it coming from miles away. That's a combi. And fried up, it's obviously not going so well. Chunda. Come on, some of you know this one. Chunda? It's to vomit. Classy people, these Australians. It's alright, we use that one in New Zealand as well. I saw you turn your nose up. Yeah. And by the way, I went to college for 7 years. Yeah, I could projectile vomit on you guys from right back here. Oh, I'm good. For the next one, we're going to stay in Australia. AC/DC. Yeah, look out. What am I going to play? On the bass. I thought it must be a great job to be a bass player in AC/DC. Every AC/DC song has a bass player. Here it is. I actually fired their bass player at one point. Got another guy because apparently he wasn't that good. The new guy, he came in and started doing this. Right, good job. Anyway, the major players in AC/DC, lead singer Bon Scott, the Young brothers, Angus and Malcolm Young, all born in Scotland. Bon Scott obviously died in 1979, but he was born in Forfar, Scotland, which sounds like a cricket reference, I've always thought, right? 4 for 22. You Americans don't like cricket, do you? You think it's boring. Slow game, long game. Yeah. Have you seen your baseball? Yeah. And let me tell you, right, civilized countries play cricket. Like Pakistan and Bangladesh and Australia. Alright. There's any number of AC/DC songs we could play here. This is the one that had the bagpipe solo in it. Now you all know how subtle bagpipes are. So I'm going to warn you when the bagpipe solo comes in and then you'll know, alright? It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. You know the one, sing along if you like. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. And here's the bagpipe solo. Alright, I had to change it a bit so you got that was it. I always thought that song's not quite Australian enough, so I thought if it was really an Australian song, this is how it would sound. It's a long way to the shop if you want a sausage roll. Come on, get this one in your brain, you guys. It's a long way to the shop if you want a sausage roll. I can't remember who knows what would come up with it. If you want some tomato sauce. Alright, total change. Any cat lovers in the house? Any cat lovers here today? If there are, thank you, my dear. Oh, hi there, nice. A few cat lovers over here. I'm teaching my dog how to meow. Yeah, I think she could use a second language. On a morning from a Bogart movie, in a country where they turn back time, you go strolling through the park like Pete DeLaurie contemplating a crime. She comes out of the sun in a silk dress, running like a watercolor in the rain. Don't bother asking for explanation, she'll just tell you that she came in the year of the cat. Now that's Al Stewart's Year of the Cat. I'm sure you all know that one. He's from Glasgow in Scotland, and that was an enormous hit for Al Stewart in the early 70s. Now the weird thing about this song, at the time it came out, it was well outside of standard radio play format. It was 6.5 minutes long, 4.5 minutes of which I'm sure you'll know is instrumental break. And so, until it became a huge hit, it wasn't getting any radio play at all. Of course, it's a beautiful piece of music, fantastic storytelling, and it ended up getting more play than Michael Douglas. And of course, it paved the way for bands like Queen to write songs like Bohemian Rhapsody. They were also outside of radio play format at the time, and still is really. But if you know some of Al Stewart's music, a lot of it's like that, right? The beautiful lyrics, Dickensian kind of lyrics, right? Intimate descriptions of dog poo with no real story, right? And there's some goodies in this one, right? One of my favourites is On a Morning from a Bogart Movie. But if you've ever seen a Bogart movie these days, they're all in black and white. What sort of a dirty, nasty, grey, dingy place is this guy found himself in? Reminds me of like watching snooker on a black and white TV. Yes, and he seems to be lining up the light grey ball to strike the rather dark grey ball into the top pocket, and screwing the very light grey ball down to the bottom of the table to line up for the black. At least, I think it's the black. My favourite though is strolling through the park like Pete DeLaurie contemplating a crime. How do you walk about contemplating a crime? Very strange. Now, I did miss out a bit from the Proclaimers, by the way. One thing that made the Proclaimers strangely famous was that they sang all of their hits with their Scottish brogue. When you hear them sing, they actually sound like Scots. We're going to go over to Ireland for this next one. You're our Celtic team, and a song, same thing. With their tanks, and their guns, and their bombs, and their guns, in their heads, they're fighting. Tanks and guns and fighting. What's a gun? I don't know what's a gun. They couldn't sound any more Irish if they tried, unless it sounded like this. We want potatoes. Potatoes, we like starch, we eat starch, we want starch, arch, and they're baked, and they're fried, and they're boiled, and they're mashed in the fields, they're growing. We want potatoes, potatoes, we're hungry, I always saw that last bit, they